You're listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series that syndicates for the A-List Online, and my name, it's Andrew Mackay-Smith. Hope you're well. The interview subject that I've got coming up for you is Jake E. from the Swedish outfit Cyhra. Now, the reason for the conversation is to promote the new album from the band, No Halos in Hell. It'll be released on November 15th, 2019. Now, if you know me, as of course many of you listeners do, you will know that I take these interviews as far as I can. And this is one of those interviews where we talk about all sorts of things above and beyond the new album. So I really hope you enjoy it. This is effectively myself and Jake just sharing our story. So here he is, Jake E. from the outfit Cyhra. Hello, brother. What's going on?
Oh,
Everything?
I am extending my vocal cords abilities, I must say, because I've been having interviews since early morning.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's going well. I start to know the answers to every question in the world.
Oh my God. Yeah, it can be like that. It can be formulaic, can't it? Because I suppose we've only got, how long have we got? 15, 20 minutes or so. So everybody tends to fire.
We got 30 minutes, I think.
Sweet. Okay, wicked, mate. But I know what it's like. I've done well over, I think I'm up to 450 of these interviews right now, and you know, I get it from the perspective that you as the artist, you get asked the same questions in these block of interviews, and you think, my God, can't people just think up of something unique and interesting to ask me about this bloody album?
No, I never think like that. The thing that I have problem with as an artist is hold on just a second. I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
I must clean my nose here. So is to make sure that I have the energy and the that I could deliver the answer, even if I have replied to those questions 50 times on a day. My problem is to keep the energy level up and give a good response to when people are asking me things, because I need to keep in mind that this is the first time this interviewer hears this answer. I need to make sure that I give everyone the same kind of energy, and that is probably the hardest thing.
Yeah, that's a really good way of framing it, and I've thought about it like that too, but I also wish, because I'm a podcaster and I also write for online publications, but I feel like I'm reading the same interview over and over again a lot of the time. So I feel like as though there are, sure, you can ask, okay, tell us about the new album. You can do that, but then you might want to focus on an aspect of the album and make the question. So you can ask the same question, but you can frame it a bit differently as the interviewer. And I think I like to think that I do that, because I'm very conscious of the fact that you as the interview subject, you're in this block and you've spoken to about, I don't know, 10 people before me, maybe more, maybe less, but you know what I mean. You know where I'm coming from. So I can tell, because I've done so many of them, I can tell when, even though we've never met before, never spoken before, you're in Sweden, I'm in Australia, I can tell you're enthusiastic about the album already because of the way that you frame it. Yeah, I can tell. I can tell that, I can tell that. But sometimes, to be honest with you, and I'm going to give you a really good example here. Okay, this is pretty close to home. I spoke to Anders from In Flames about a year ago or so, and I think he was in the middle of one of these things that we're doing right now. And I questioned him on the change to In Flames sound. And I know Jesper was in the band when that happened. I know he was in the band up until 2010. And he didn't like the question, okay? And I thought, isn't that interesting? Because I'm an old fan. But then I realised he's been asked the same bloody question over and over again. He's on a tour bus. He's sitting next to Chris Broderick from Megadeth and... what's the other band that he's in? Arch Enemy? Is he in Arch? No, he's not in Arch Enemy, is he? He's in... that's the other guy. But you know where I'm coming from, don't you? These guys, particularly in the, with all due respect, the bigger bands. I think they were touring with Deep Purple at the time, maybe in Mexico when I had a chat to him. I could be wrong, but I think that's what was going on. So I think he just sort of sighed and went, "Okay, I won't put in a Swedish accent because it'll be really bad, but tell me why you think we changed our sound." And I thought, well, look, I'm an old fan. Okay, I was around in the 90s. I got into the Jester Race and all of those sorts of albums there, and I know that the band's sound changed. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I haven't heard your responses because, frankly, I don't read a lot of the interviews that he's been a part of. But then I thought about it afterwards, and I thought maybe if I, it's not about approaching it with empathy. It's about saying, okay, he's been asked this question a million times. How can I frame it differently? How can I frame it differently? But, you know, I'll reframe for you, mate, because I actually really do like your album, No Halos in Hell. You know, it's very...
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I really do. So, and my take on it is this, okay? This sounds like hard rock that should be played on late night FM radio. And if I didn't know better, and I think it's a very smart move, you'd engineered it that way. So that's my thoughts. But what are your thoughts on my comments?
I completely agree with you. I think that this music that we play in general is for the wider mass. I think that our music is not only made for, you know, true metalheads, so to say. I think that our music can be listened to by people that are listening to Ed Sheeran as people that are into Anthrax or Megadeth. I think we are crossing borders with our music in that way. Just as you said, we would be able to be played on regular radio channels any day of the week. But you know, it will probably never happen because it's labeled as metal, and you know, metal for an FM station is as scary as chickenpox. So you know, they don't touch it because it's labeled the wrong way.
Yeah.
If our name would be Jake LaGrande instead, and we would have an apple on our cover, it'd probably be played there. But you know, it's all about how you package things. So.
I absolutely agree, mate. And listening to the album, I've listened to it a couple of times. It's got that wonderful production quality to it, hasn't it? It's the sort of production quality to it that, to your exact point, that if somebody out there was brave enough to put it on one of those bloody Spotify playlists that's listened to by millions of people, your music could actually sit alongside of Taylor Swift's music. So please take that as a compliment, because I'm a music fan at the end of the day. I don't give a shit about labels.
I take that as a compliment, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about labels, mate. I'm just, at the end of the day, I consider, and I've made this point before in my podcast series, I consider music like yours or Taylor Swift, it's all just rock and roll. It all just comes from the great legacy that Chuck Berry started way back in the late 40s and early 50s. You know, so...
Absolutely. I completely agree. I completely agree.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you got the ambition to it, though, because my thing about heavy metal is it is a popular form of music. It's not an underground form of music. And I know at times it has been, such as in the late 90s. But overall, mate, there's as many heavy metal fans out there as there are urban music fans. So why can't this music be played on radio, be put on Spotify playlists next to Taylor Swift and the like? And your album here is a really good example of how that can happen. So that's my next question for you is, how do we help you do it?
There has been some of those bands that has been able to do this lately. I think that Volbeat, the Danish band, is one of those bands that, you know, has gone through, and you know, they're being accepted on like bigger radio stations as like a general rock band, so to say. The way you guys could help us is, I said that in an other interview as well with a colleague of yours, actually, down in Australia. I said that you know, if I think that people in the metal business, I love the metal business. It's like a brotherhood. Everyone is holding each other's backs and, you know, supporting each other and so on and so forth. But one thing that is negative with, you know, metal fans is the fact that metal fans sometimes has this thing where they find a new band and they keep it like it's an exotic pet of theirs, because like they don't want to breed this exotic thing and give out to other people. It's theirs and theirs alone. And I don't know if I make myself clear enough, but what I mean here is that, you know, we need people to, you know, spread the word about us. But within the metal scene, it's still like that, is that people finds a band and they like it and they keep it as their pet, and like, no, I'm not gonna lend this out to anyone else. uh, and then when more people are starting to listen to it, that original fan stops listening to it, because now all of a sudden it's commercial. Now all of a sudden it's too much people that are listening to this small band, and the connection that first person felt with the band is now gone. Do you understand what I mean?
I absolutely do. Yeah, I'm a lifelong heavy metal fan, so I know exactly what you're saying. It's like as if it's their own personal. You said it. You nailed it. I haven't heard that expression before, but exotic pet, and you nailed it. That's exactly what heavy metal bands are to the hardcore fans, and it's bullshit because, I mean, to foster the genre and for the genre to grow and for it to become more ubiquitous, in other words, for it to get onto more Spotify playlists, like I've said a couple of times now, it needs to get more popular. There's no two ways about it. And I think the other thing that I don't, and I'm going to mention this now, is I think in heavy metal, mate, we're very backward looking. Now, I'm not shitting on Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and Metallica here, but I'm going to kind of do it a little bit. I grew up with those bands, okay? So I'm 41. Okay, I listened to Metallica and Iron Maiden in particular right the way through my teenage years, well into early adulthood and the like. But I don't need to listen to them anymore, to be quite honest with you, okay? I want to listen to No Halos in Hell. I want to listen to Bill Hudson and North Tail. There are so many other bands that I want to listen to. And I cannot understand why in this day and age, I mean, I don't want to make the point too specifically, but I kind of will anyway again. But there are so many young men and women out there, girls and boys, they wear Judas Priest t-shirts and they're 14. Fucking hell, I barely remember when Painkiller was released. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's this retro thing happening and this reinvention of history that doesn't make sense. Here's the tip. When Painkiller came out, hardly anybody listened to it. I remember. Okay? And that's the thing, like, it wasn't that big an album. It's become a big album in the years because of the internet, and it's a fantastic album, by the way. But my point is, it wasn't as popular, I think, as people like to reframe it as now. And what I wish people would do, instead of getting into Painkiller, I wish that they'd get into No Halos in Hell. Because for me, Judas Priest are gone. You know, as soon as you start replacing members, like what they've done with, especially, you can't get rid of KK Downing. As far as I'm concerned, no KK, no Judas Priest. I've said it. Okay? So, what do? There are so many great albums out there by so many great bands on the Nuclear Blast label, on Napalm. There's so many wonderful artists out there. I just wish a lot of these journalist types and also young people would reframe and support the new wave, like you guys, man. Because I think if you jag, say, 5 to 10% of the Judas Priest fans that are spending their hard-earned on Screaming for Vengeance t-shirts, man, you'd be set. And then we'd almost be guaranteed to produce another 5 or 6 albums. I mean, they're my thoughts, and it's a bit of a rant, but what are your thoughts on what I've just said?
I completely agree with you, and I still love both, Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. They're one of the reasons why I'm here in the first place. But I completely agree. And one thing, I think that the biggest responsibility to make this happen lies on festivals, to be honest. And I saw this happen this year on Sweden Rock. I don't know if you're aware of a band called Mireth.
No, tell me about it. Go for it.
Mireth is a band from Tunisia, which are experiencing a lot with like Eastern European, like African, all these Eastern music kind of style, and combining that with metal, and it's amazing. And so on Sweden Rock this year, last day, Saturday, the headline spot at 11 o'clock, we're supposed to go to this Polish death metal band. What the fuck are their name?
Vader or Decapitated, was it? Oh, no, Behemoth.
Bigger.
Behemoth.
Behemoth, yeah. For some reason, it was some problems with the flight. I think that half of the band couldn't make it to Sweden because of a strike, and so all of a sudden the headline spot is vacant, and the festival didn't know really what to do. But the general Martin, that was in charge of all the bookings, he took Mireth, that played on one of the smallest stages, earlier during that day and
Yep.
asked them to fill the spot. And their first show was in front of 800 people in like a tent at the festival, and all of a sudden they're doing the same show again in front of 15-20,000 people.
Yep.
And he was obviously, I spoke to him, and he said that he was obviously a little bit scared that people would walk away and be angry because this was not what they came to pay for. But more or less 80% of all the audience stayed there, and they enjoyed the show. And this small band did an amazing show, and they took care of it almost like if they would have been the headline act. And I think that there comes the responsibility for festivals to not only work with those, sorry for the expression, but old fucking hags, bands that have been playing for 40 years.
Agreed. Yep.
I think that every festival should dare to have one of the newcoming acts. I don't say that a band that just released their first album should play at 9 o'clock at a festival, but I think that a band that is growing and maybe release their third album, and maybe they belong on a smaller stage, dare to put them on the big stage at 8 o'clock. Give them enough money so that they could do a stage show, because that's the only way for us to build another Guns N' Roses. It's the only way for us to make sure that this business will survive and have bands like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. I mean, like, Judas Priest and Iron Maiden can never be compared to each other. I mean, Judas Priest are not touring the world on football stadiums. You still mention Judas Priest and Iron Maiden in the same sentence, but Judas Priest is like a demo band in comparison to Iron Maiden, if you get what I mean.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, and I felt the same way. I never felt Judas Priest reached their potential, never, and I totally agree with KK in his book when he blamed Glenn Tipton and a lot of that, and I thought a lot of that through the years too, especially the way that I didn't realise when I was a kid that KK wasn't playing the solos, because I knew early on he did before Glenn joined the band. And then as soon as Glenn joined the band, he sort of got pushed to the side and stuff. And I thought, fucking hell, this is the guy that actually was writing a lot of the riffs. A lot of the fans don't understand that, and I think I'm right in saying that. But, Iron Maiden are a different beast, and I've had my issues with Iron Maiden over the years insofar as I thought Blaze was not the replacement singer for Bruce. I think everybody thinks that. And the band, if they bought on a guy like Blaze, they should have down-tuned. But yeah, my wife said to me, because they're actually touring Australia early next year, and she said, "Do you want to go?" And I said, "No, I've seen them before. I'm good. I want to. Generally speaking, I want to see a band once or twice, and then I'm done." At this stage in time, the only band that I actually want to see again, and I've seen them a couple of times when they've toured Australia, is Deicide, and that's because they've got a new lineup, and I want to see if Glenn can pull it off. But I understand exactly what you're saying. And it's such a good point, and I wish some musicians... And it's not about pissing people off, it's just about being brave and actually speaking, like standing within your own truth and having an opinion on these things.
Yeah, but of course, but I mean, I saw Maiden this year on their best of tour, and it was amazing. It was amazing, and I love to go to Maiden shows. It's not what I mean, but what I'm talking about is the festivals here. They don't have to have like Rat at a festival at 9 o'clock on the main stage. Because Rat does not need the attention anymore. They had their big time, and Rat fans is Rat fans. They will never lose their Rat fans, and the Rat fans are now 50, 51, 60 years old. What I mean is, have your headliner. Let's have Iron Maiden as the headliner of the festival. I don't care about that, but you don't have to have bands that cost $1 million from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Throw in new, fresh blood in between there. And especially if you have a big band at 8 o'clock and a big band at 11 o'clock, if you put a new band in between there, the audience will stay because they're waiting for the next big
Yeah, I
band.
know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, it's like when I was growing up through the '90s and metal wasn't even around, and you'd go to a festival here in Australia and Tool would be headlining, but you'd see Kay's Choice, who I think were from Belgium or Holland, and then you'd see Skunk and Nancy from the UK, and a lot of people hadn't heard of them before, but these were fucking good bands. These are still great bands now, but they were really good back then. But nobody had ever heard of them, and they did it a bit like what you guys would do. So is that something that yourself and your management are working on? Have you, well, the things that we're talking about now? Have you expressed this opinion to the guys and girls, whoever it might be, that organise Varken and Hellstock and all those festivals?
I think it's impossible to in this. In this case, I think it's impossible to learn to teach an old dog to sit. I think that it needs to be fresh blood coming in underneath for organizations like this, because obviously the reason why no one is doing this is because people are afraid of losing their investment, because it's obvious that if you have a phone store and you decide not to sell the new iPhone and just sell the Jake phone that no one knows about, you take a big risk on having your whole fucking company being completely just gone to nothing over a day, because like obviously most people wants to have the new iPhone, right? So because they know iPhone or Samsung, so it's a dare decision for, and I think that the big festivals are scared. They know that if they book Maiden, Judas Priest, Merlin Manson, whatever, they know that people are gonna buy tickets. But if all of a sudden they only have half those big names, they're scared of that people are not going to come.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, they've got to be, I reckon, 1 year, a Varken or any, like, download, whatever it might be. Donington is now download, I suppose. They've just got to be brave and book you guys and book Bill Hudson and Northtail and book all of these other bands that I've interviewed. I interview so many of you guys from Nuclear Blast that are on your first, second or third album. But it's like there's a glass ceiling. And I think you've very correctly identified that until you're actually put further on up the bill in these European metal festivals, it's going to be very difficult to do that, because let's face it, mainstream radio programs aren't going to give you the support that you deserve. They're not going to do that. They're going to play AC/DC. They're going to play the same old shit. Excuse my language, but you know what I mean. They're going to play the same old shit. But I think the only thing around that is because the internet does provide so many opportunities, and me as a podcaster, I'm a massive champion of new bands and new sounds, because I want to foster the genre, man. I want to see the genre move forward. And I was listening to a old podcast episode of mine with Stuart Anstis, who was probably the best guitarist Cradle of Filth ever had. He's the guy who wrote Cruelty and the Beast, and he's we got into so much during that conversation there. But, it really is about taking the best of the old and bringing it to a new audience, which is what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
So was that the intention behind forming the band?
No, the intention of forming the band. I just want to quickly end the last thing we were talking about.
Yep.
What I meant with all these things is also, it's not just putting a new band up there and get them cheap. It's give the new band some extra money so that they also could make a stage show, a stage appearance, so that they look bigger than they are, so that you could sell that to the audience, because then the audience can talk about it. It's a big thing if one band could go on 5 festivals playing for 30 to 80,000 people. All of a sudden their fan base will increase dramatically. And the reason why I want this is because there is no way in hell those festivals are going to stick around, because in 10 years Maiden's going to be gone, Ozzy's going to be gone, Judas Priest is going to be gone. All these bands are no longer going to be on the map.
You're
and
right,
who is going to headline then?
Yeah. You're spot on. Unfortunately, mate, you know who's going to bloody headline it? Corn and Limp Bizkit. That's who's bloody going to
But
headline
Korn,
it. That annoys the shit out of me,
but
to be
this is
honest
the
with you.
thing. This is the thing. Korn is also gone in 10, 15 years.
Well, they're not that good a band
That's
either, to be honest with you. They've got a great drummer, excuse me, but they've got a great drummer. But, I mean, look, your points are valid.
I will never say anything bad about any of my colleagues in the business, but those things are what you believe. I don't care about like which band it is that takes over. I just say that you have to build from the ground. That's the thing that I'm saying. But talking about your next question is the reason why we formed this band from the beginning. I got tired of the situation I was in with my last band, and I realized that I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. So I started to go more into acting.
Wow, okay.
I did a movie. I did a movie that will come out next year, together with David Labrava from Sons of Anarchy, if you know that actor.
Great show and great actor, yeah.
Yeah. And I did that, and then I, started to work a little bit with music together with Jesper, and we have been friends for, years and years and years. I used to be the pyrotechnician for In Flames back in the day, so
is that right? Okay.
That's the way. That's the way how I got to know Jesper, and we stayed friends since then. So we known each other for what could it be, 20 years, and we just sat down and wrote some music together, and all of a sudden we decided to form a band, and because we felt that let's go out and tour with this thing, and we got a record deal with Universal, and all of a sudden everything were going from just having fun to like a serious project, and but we never had any intentions on like what kind of music we were gonna do. We were just writing. We did what came out of our hands, so to say, and that became Cyhra. And now we're here on our second album, and we decided when we started to write songs for this one, we just continued. I mean, like, I've never had a back thought in my head, so to say, that like this song needs to sound like this, or this song needs to sound like that. I rarely even listens to music anymore, so like I can't really be inspired by anyone else. I just write whatever comes out of my hands, and that is pretty interesting. I think that like we just write the music that we like. We write music that we like to listen to. And
yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think once you hit about 30 years of age, and you got the experience you've got, you're no longer in control of your music. It just happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm 30. What the fuck am I? I'm 37.
Yeah, I look, it's a good age. I think life gets easier the older you get, to be honest, because you got commitments. And I've just been looking through your Facebook page, and it looks like as though you've got children too, and that always helps.
I got two. I got one. Like, and this is funny, not realizing your age. That is that I just came up thinking about it the other day. So. What is it like now? 2 years ago, my girlfriend, she calls me and tells me that I'm pregnant. And I'm like, oh, nice, cool, that's awesome. And then the other day, now, like my son, he turned 1, and my daughter is 6.
Very nice.
And I told my girlfriend that fuck, I never realized how old I am when you said you were pregnant, because like if I would have realized that I was like 35 or 36 back then, I would never said that, this is a great idea, because now I'm 37. I start to feel like, my back hurts, like I'm exhausted all the time, tired. Like I don't have the energy that I had when I was like 29 or 30, where my daughter came, like there was no problem, carrying her around, carrying my son around. Now I feel like I'm 80.
I get it, brother. Don't worry, I've got 2 kids myself, 2 daughters, and I wish I had the energy that I had when I was 30, man. And I'm back at uni these days, so I'm around all the 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds, and a lot of them are from Sweden, I've got to tell you. I'm at like an internationally flavoured uni here on the Gold Coast, and some of the people that I talk to fairly regularly are from Sweden, and I say to them, man, it's like, enjoy your time here, because when you go home back to, Gothenburg or Malmo or wherever you're from, it's, you're going to settle into life, man, and this might be the highlight of your life, because life takes over very quickly, and as soon as you hit 30, boom, your energy's gone. It just disappears. You can't control it.
It's exactly like my 6-pack. I had it until like the day after I turned 30.
Yep.
All of a sudden it transformed to a 1-pack. I don't get it. It's something magic with the 30-year-old turning 30. It's weird.
Oh, I don't think there's any difference between... Look, I'm 41, but I've spoken to a lot of people about this. I don't think there's any difference between 35 and 65. You know what I'm saying? Like, you literally are the same person for that 30-year period. And I don't know what the hell happens, but yeah, your energy does go. I mean, I was the sort of person that used to not like even sleeping at night, yet alone during the day. But nowadays, if someone said to me at 10 a.m., go and have a couple of hours sleep, I'd take it. I'd take it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I was the same. I was exactly the same. I hated sleeping. Now sleeping is like, the most, unheard resource ever. Like,
yes.
If I get the chance to sleep, I sleep. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter where if it's an airplane, a train, sitting next to someone in the car, like I take all the chances I can get to sleep. My son got this vaccine shot yesterday.
Okay, yes.
So I don't know. I think I probably had an hour of combined sleep.
Oh, God.
This night. So,
tough. Yeah, that's tough.
I can't wait. I can't wait until he turns like 2-3 years old. That when they finally start to have a regular. Like where they sleep the whole night through.
Yeah, that's coming. Yeah, I know. Like, I totally agree with you on that one there. The up to about 18 months is very difficult. After 18 months is... you've been through it before with a 6-year-old, but you know what I mean. Like, I've got 2, like you've got 2, and, man, it just seems like double trouble, literally, when they're both that young.
How old are yours?
4 and 6. 4 years of age and 6 years of age, yeah.
4 and 6. I just need to tell you one thing. I just realized that we have no interview coming after you, so don't feel any stress.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Yeah. Well, no. Look, we'll talk for as long as you want to talk for. Yeah. I mean, I think parenthood is.
So I really enjoy talking to you. So I'm in no rush of going anywhere. So.
Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah. Well, we'll take this as long as you want to take it. Then, So, but I think I talk about this a lot to people, particularly at uni, and I say, with parenthood, it's the greatest gift, but make sure that you've sort of lived a life beforehand as well. And I know you definitely have, being a musician, but I think a lot of people are just waiting for their life to sort of happen and unfold.
Yeah, I think so too. Hold on just a sec. It's going to cut off and come back again. I just have to turn off the Wi-Fi and go over to a regular cell thing here a bit. So... Hello?
I can hear loud and clear. No worries.
Hello? Yeah, awesome. Great.
No worries.
I have to go to my laundry place it's the coolest thing in my office. It's a laundry thing in the house. So I'm just going to go check it out because our monitor engineer that is going to do the Battle Beast tour is arriving today. So I need to wash up some clothes for him.
Well, you're a very good singer in there. You're doing everything. You're doing everything, mate. What next can you do? Mathematics and science and everything else? Gosh, is it not much you can't do? But yeah, look, I think parenthood is a very rewarding thing. But it's interesting talking to you because you said that you got to a point where you didn't know what you were going to do next. And I got to that point a couple of years ago myself. And for me, that meant going back to university. Or going to university, I should say. But for you that meant forming a new band.
Yeah. Yeah. It was how do you say? It was scary, absolutely. To take that decision, I must say, because I had no idea what was going to happen.
No, I
Uh,
don't blame you. I
but
mean, it's very brave to do it.
yeah, but fuck Friday. What day is it today?
Well, it's Friday for me. Yeah, Friday night at 9 o'clock. Yeah, so it must be. Is it the morning over there?
It's the 8th, right?
Is it 8 a.m. over there? God, that's early for you, isn't it?
Nah, it's not early. It's like noon here.
Oh, so it's Thursday. Is it Friday or Thursday for you guys? Sorry, I get out of whack when I'm talking to people.
It's Friday. It's Friday for
Friday.
us. It's Friday for us.
Yeah, we only must be about 12 hours ahead of you guys, or so.
Yeah.
Not too far. Yeah, no.
Hold on a sec. I'm just gonna check one thing here.
No worries.
14. Okay. 14. Okay, no, but it was scary. I did not know. The most scary thing with forming a new band, it was that I know that I am a talented songwriter, right? But I know that I know how to make hit songs, and I have tons of gold albums on my walls for previous things that I've done in my career. But still, that doesn't mean anything, because like I had no idea if labels would, think that I would be a valuable resource for them to sign on and, throw money at, believing in me. So, it felt strange for me to, like be back, like almost I felt like I was 15 again,
Yeah, I know
standing there without a record deal, and, having two kids to feed, and or at least then I had one, but another one on the way, and okay, I was standing at the crossroad where, okay, this might be the situation where I am going to be forced to take a day job.
And what did you think you might end? So if music didn't work out, did you have a plan B?
Yeah, I have a lot of plan Bs. I mean, acting is one thing that I've gone into a lot, and that is of course a really hard and tough one, but it's a fun thing, and obviously I was able to do that too. So I got a role, and I've been getting other things going on as well. But I also started a management called Guilty Gorilla Group, which I started around the same time as I left Amaranthe, because I felt that, okay, if everything goes to shit now, at least I have the management that I could work with. But I would end up. I mean, like I would end up working around something that has to do with music. If I would have to quit being an artist, I would work with something around music, maybe on a record label, on a management, on a booking agency, something that involves music in one way or the other, I think.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, you brought up Amaranthe because I've chatted to the guitarist in that band about a year and a half ago. So whenever that late was it Olaf? I think it's Olaf. I spoke to him. So did they replace you with the female singer? Is that what happened? Or when I say replace you, when you left, did she come in then, or what was the deal there?
No. She was there almost from the beginning. The band was formed by me and the guitar player, and then we were more or less in the same situation where me and Jesper was. It was me and Olaf that started to write songs, and we didn't know from the beginning it was just meant to be a project where we had guest singers and guest musicians on every track. But then after writing a couple of songs, and we tried out the growler and we tried out the girl, we figured out that let's start a band of this instead. So that's what we did. So no, they replaced me with another singer called his name is Nils.
Nils, yeah, okay. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page now. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I did chat. Yeah, Olaf seemed like a decent guy. You guys still mates? You guys still catch up and hang out?
No, I haven't spoken to them in years, to be
fair
honest.
enough. Yeah, I thought it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like when I leave a job. most of the people that I worked with there, that I was mates with there, you don't talk to again. I understand that doesn't have to be an issue. You sort of just move on with your life, don't you? But yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, they don't seem to be too. They seem to be going okay, I suppose. Are they in terms of popularity? Are they like? Have you guys surpassed them since this release, or since the anticipation of this release?
I have no idea. Like it's leaving a band is like leaving a girlfriend. I mean, like if I would break up with a girlfriend, I would not try to stalk her Facebook page and try to see what she's doing.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I would try. I would try to have that chapter close behind me and just go forward. So I have no idea what they're doing, and I just wish them all the best.
Now let me ask you this about Swedish musicians, because I reckon outside of people who natively speak English, so people from Australia, UK, and the United States, I've spoken to more Swedish musicians than anybody else, I've got to tell you, and there's just such a fertile ground there, if you like, or there's such music is so fertile there in Sweden. What do you put that down to? Now, I've asked a lot of people this, and I seem to get a different response all the time. But what's your take on it? Why do so many Swedes become great musicians?
I think it's a combination. I think of a lot of different things. First of all, I think that it has to, like, if you go really, really deep into it, I think that the socialistic way of how Sweden is built up from the ground,
Yes,
like where we have this security of being a member of the country, so to say, or like a citizen, is that we have a safety network that is amazing. I mean, like, it doesn't matter if you are rich or if you're poor, or if you have a job or if you don't, you're still covered by anything that has to do like with healthcare or kindergarten or schooling or whatever it is. Like, everything is being paid from the taxes, and that is the same thing with musical schools. If you want to learn how to play an instrument, it doesn't cost you anything. You just sign up, and obviously there might be so that you have to wait a year or two to go in there, but still you don't have to have rich parents that could give you private lessons. And that is one thing. And then it's also these things where the government is funding places where you can go as a band, to have like rehearsal spaces where you and your band can practice together.
Yeah.
And I think that is a very important thing. But then it also comes with this that we are brought up with ABBA and Max Martin and all these things in our drinking water. So I think that the way how the government are keeping us safe is and secure, and that it doesn't have to cost you shitloads of money to do specific things is one point. And then also the treasury that we got from Swedish artists throughout the years. And then if you just add an extra layer on top of that, is that we are living in a country where 6 to 7 months a year, it's dark as fuck, it's cold as fuck, and you can't go out, you can't do anything else, and then you're sitting with your guitar instead, or end up in a rehearsal room. So Sweden is very good at sports and music. And I think that's the reason, you need something to do during the dark periods of the year, which is about from now until like the end of February. So there's different layers to it, but I think that I covered it up pretty well.
Yeah, a lot of the students I talk about, they want to move to Australia, of course, and I think there's a lot of, and I've spoken, I actually consider him a friend, but Marcus Jadell from Avatarium and Candlemas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know him. I know. Yeah,
lovely
absolutely.
Guy, man. I've spoken to him a few times actually. He's just such a champion of a guy.
Next time you talk to him, say hi from me.
I will.
The cool thing with Marcus that few people know is
Sorry, mate, can you hear me? You just cut out
yeah,
then as you were mentioning.
I got a phone call.
All right, yeah.
It cuts up the Skype thing. The smallest finger on your hand, what is it called?
Pinky finger.
The pinky finger, yeah.
Yep.
Marcus is one of those guitar players that never uses that when he plays.
Really?
And that is, yeah, it's fucking cool.
Jesus, because that new album from them is absolutely killer. I reckon I would actually go on record and say he's probably my favourite guitarist around right now. You know that,
Yeah,
and I'm a musician myself. I'm a bass. I've been playing all day. Well, not all day, but I've got a gig tomorrow night, so I've had to learn a bunch of songs. I've had to relearn how to play ABBA's Mamma Mia. There you go. I'm a bassist, and I play in funk and disco cover bands. And
fuck, dude, fuck! I have to hang up. Can I call you back in 2 minutes?
You sure can. No worries at all, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Gotcha.
Hello.
No dramas?
No, it was. I had an interview at 12 that I did not put into my schedule, and it's one of the biggest newspapers in Hall of Sweden. So he was the one calling me, and I was just taking it off, and then I realized then this name sounds familiar. Hold on. Oh fuck. So I just had to jump into the car and
oh wow! So you if you need to take the call, man, I mean, you go and do what you got to do.
No, I have to go there, so I can talk to you on my way over to that interview. So that's absolutely cool.
Okay,
what were we talking about when I hang up on you?
Oh, we talked about that. Marcus, and I've spoken to Marcus a couple of times. That I think he's my favourite guitarist around right now. Actually, he's he's a wonderful guy too. And I think what he's been up to the last couple of years, I just really enjoyed listening to his music.
Absolutely. He's great in so many ways, and there's a lot of things coming from Sweden that is good. I guess that you also mentioned that you.
I play music too. Yeah, I'm a musician playing ABBA and all sorts of music.
What kind of instruments do you? What kind of instruments do you play?
So primarily a bass player, but I learned how to play guitar too. So I played bass. If you're a bassist or a guitarist, you can play both, I think. But I play a lot of acoustic guitar as well. So, but my primary stage instrument is bass guitar because I just love funk, man. I mean, it's really weird for me, man, and a lot of people don't understand it. I've never met anybody quite like me with my music taste, but I love listening to heavy metal, but I love playing funk and disco. So,
and of course, that's obvious. I mean, like you. Funk is the obvious place to go if you're a bass player. I mean, like playing funk is also really, really hard. So I mean, like it's. I play bass too in a punk band, but I would never be able to slam the bass like you do in funk. I think that is really, really cool. So I'm impressed by people that can manage to do that.
Yeah, it's look, I'm first and foremost a bass player, but picked up the guitar and. I just love playing the bass. I can't describe it, man. I tried playing the guitar a lot, man. Believe me, I tried switching over and joined bands and formed my own bands as a guitarist, but I just couldn't stick with it in terms of the way that I do with the bass, And I still play the guitar. I play the guitar all the time for the kids, man. But I just, when it comes to playing on stage, man, I just get that that chill you get up your spine. That happens for me when I play the bass. It doesn't happen for me when I play the guitar. It feels like a real chore. I'm just meant to be a bass player. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, like, I play a lot of different instruments. I started out with the trumpet in, music school when I was young. And, then I turned over to, trying to learn the guitar and bass and drums and so on. But I can play every instrument more or less on 50%. So, like I can write songs on all those instruments, piano, guitar, bass, whatever. But I could never stand up playing the songs that I've written. It's pretty funny. Like I never put enough effort in to, learn them to 100%. And that annoys the hell out of me sometimes.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But man, look, the thing is that you're in the 1% of the 1%, that you're actually doing it. You're a professional musician. It must feel great to be able to do it. You know, I mean, you're obviously a hard worker and you've got the talent, but to actually take the next step and actually make a living from doing this, man, it must feel awesome.
It feels awesome, but it's also fucking, you know, sometimes I envy people with a, in parentheses, real job, because they don't have to, you know, go every fucking month and, you know, hope that you earn enough money to pay your bills. You know, that, you know, I never know how much royalty is coming in. You know, if it was enough in January, I don't know how much it is in September, you know. So you always need to work on this buffer, you know. It doesn't matter if you have enough money on your bank account. You always need to buffer those money in case of that, you know, things are going bad. You never know that on forehand. It's just one date, and, you know, okay, the album did not sell anything. Okay, what are we doing now? So, you know, having a real job, like, I don't say that musician is a real job, but like a day job at a factory or an office or whatever.
I know what you mean,
You know that your salary is going to come in every fucking month. So you can have your you know, 5 weeks of vacation or whatever it is.
But a guy like you, man, you are very talented at the end of the day. There's and you mentioned the musical instruments that you can play. You can certainly write music, and you can bloody well sing. We know that. Have you thought about going the route that Tobias Sammet from Avantasia and Ed Guy has gone, and forming a collective, so as though you've always got something on the go? Yeah,
that was the initial idea with Amaranthe from the beginning.
Right.
That's what we tried to do. Me and the guitar player. We had that idea of, you know, trying to, you know, form something. But what we wanted to do back then was that we wanted to do like an Avantasia project, but with Gothenburg metal. So we wanted to invite, you know, guys
awesome.
from Evergrey, In Flames, At the Gates, stuff like that. You know, we wanted to have like a Gothenburg metal combination, so to say. So that was our initial plan. But then we formed a band instead. So yeah, I've had that idea, but it turned into be something else.
I really hope that at some point in your career that actually does happen, because all of those bands that you mentioned, like at the Gates and In Flames, I'm a massive fan of those bands, you know. And the thing about Gothenburg is it's such an important epicenter for rock music and heavy metal, isn't it? And
and imagine me then. I used to be a big In Flames fan, and all of a sudden I played with two of the guys from the band. I mean, both Peter and Jesper.
Yeah.
You know, I had to pinch my arm, you know, when I was standing on stage with two of my idols.
Mate, you're an enthusiastic guy, so where does this energy come from? I know we've talked about how difficult it is to have energy when you've got kids and over 30, but really, mate, I can hear the enthusiasm in your voice for heavy music and rock music. So, mate, where do you think that comes from? Is that just something within?
No, my mom got me when she was like 18 years or something like that. So I grew up with my grandma a lot, and my mom's brothers, my uncles, they are 10 years older than me, and they were metalheads, and they were also big record collectors. So from the day I could walk, I was listening to metal. When like the Keeper of the Seven Keys came out, you know, I was listening to that.
Yeah.
You know, I was loving it, and I was like 4 years old. So I grew up with that kind of music, and you know, that was the only thing I had around me. So, you know, I had no other option than becoming a metalhead.
Yeah, it was tough here in Australia, I've got to tell you, because in the 90s when I grew up, urban music from the United States became quite big, and you could face a lot of issues if you walked around in a Metallica t-shirt even at times. Like, it'd probably surprise you to hear that, but even...
But you got it during the 90s, 97 or 98, you got a band that really stuck on me, and that was Pegasus.
Oh, Pegasus, yeah, from Melbourne. Yeah, there you go. The Headless Horseman album. Yeah,
a great fucking band back then. I loved them when when
I
they came
agree.
out.
I saw them a couple of times. The Stodge brothers. There you go. I remember. I never met them, and I've never spoken to them. I might get them onto the podcast. But yeah, they were a bloody good band, mate. Actually, yeah, they were really good. And I think another
They were
band.
they were also signed to Nuclear Blast. I think
That's-
one of the first Australian bands that were ever,
Well, the first Australian band was Mortification. Remember the death metal band, the Christian death metal band?
Yeah.
They were, and I was a big fan of, I still am, to be honest with you, Mortification. I still listen to them from time to time. Scrolls of the Megaloth. They had some fantastic albums. And Steve Rowe. And I think at the Christian angle put a lot of people off, but the reality was, man, is that I had Deicide's Legion and I had Scrolls of the Megaloth. And they couldn't have been, polar ends, but they sounded similar.
As you might understand, no halos in hell. I'm not a big fan of religion at all. So,
Oh, likewise, man.
It doesn't matter what kind of religion it is. It could be. I see Satanism as a form of religion too, and I don't like that either. It's like I'm not a big fan of organized religion in any way.
I'm with you, mate. Don't worry, I'm with you on that front there. Yeah, it's I think, especially in Western civilization, we're very enlightened from the perspective that religion was really just a control mechanism. And it was, when we're ignorant, as civilization was ignorant, we sort of bought into all this bullshit. But as we get more sort of knowledge, we realise that science prevails and that there's all these answers through science.
Yes, exactly. That's my point too.
Yeah, it's the case, man. Yeah, I mean, look, I've got my spirituality and my faith, and I'm a Catholic through and through from the perspective that my mother's Irish Catholic, as a lot of us in Australia are, and I guess I carry that with me. But man, I don't go to church anymore. Of course I don't. I mean, I had to go to church when I was a kid.
I don't blame religious people. People can believe in whatever they want, but I think religion is the bad thing, so to say.
No, I don't disagree, brother. Yeah, mate, it sounds like you're way where you need to be right now, so I'll let you go.
I have to hang up, but it was extremely great to talk to you, and I hope we have the ability to talk more further on.
I really hope so, brother. And mate, my final question for you is: are you cool if I release everything we've spoken about on my podcast series? Because I think people would love to hear this.
Absolutely. You're welcome. So have a really nice day now, and pet some kangaroos from me.
Well, I hope to see you in Australia, brother. We'll have a beer when you come down.
Absolutely. I hope to meet you in person.
Likewise, mate. No worries. Thanks so much for the conversation. I've really enjoyed it.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks, man. Catch up. You've been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series that syndicates for the A-List Online, and my name, it's Andrew Mackay-Smith. That interview subject was Jake E. from the Swedish outfit Cyhra. Thanks so much for listening.